enjoyed my series on the American Civil War if you're old to this channel. But, the American Civil War, I only got interested in it here in Atlanta, Georgia. And then I remember back in my past, one thing that I really loved about history was one specific set of years that had a lot of people die in it. Hooray, fascism! Yes, the Second World War. Now, the First World War, I enjoyed it, but it's not that interesting. I mean, what's more interesting than fascists and communists and imperialists? Pigs. But I've never actually gone really deep into making a video about it. Yes, I did used to make a few videos about it. You cannot see it anymore, obviously. I mean, why else would you cannot be able to see it anymore? But that one was a bit not that professional. Anyways, at that time I didn't even turn 9. Actually, I was 9 already. But I'm 10 right now. No, I'm not. I'm 9. But of course, you know who I am. If you know who I am, obviously, and nobody knows who I am because I'm not even you. I am always going to do every single thing that I've never done before. So, let's get into it. But before we can actually get into the actual war, the Second World War, we need to look at what exactly happened to kickstart it. And I know that a lot of you are coming here for actually battles and Pearl Harbor and bombing everyone and fascists. But that won't make any sense without talking about this. But yeah, still, I'm gonna do something for you all, and I'm gonna make this as short as possible, but as clear as possible, so that we can get into the exciting parts before you die of boredom. So, let's get into it! Okay, the year, it's 1937. Adolf Hitler has now taken power. He is now the Chancellor and under President Hindenburg. And guess what? Hindenburg, nobody likes him. There has been 2 Reiches so far, which was 1, the Holy Roman Empire, and 2, the one started by Mr. Otto von Bismarck. You can learn more about him in my Germany video. So, link in the end of the video. Watch to the end. Got it? And now, Adolf Hitler will now imply powers that Otto von Bismarck actually used as Chancellor. Adolf Hitler decided to pass laws which basically said the Jews are not bad. Everybody needs to throw stones into Jew stores' windows. And that is what happened. When Hindenburg decided to either be like, you know what, I don't like having a chancellor that's a fascist, or he decided to be like, well, I'm like 78 years old, which means that I should be dead, so I'm gonna die. Either one of those, he was gone from power, leaving the Chancellor, Adolf Hitler, to rise to the power of president. President. It's just like Putin. Dictator is the better term. And he was an awesome dictator. I don't mean he's good. I'm not a neo-Nazi. I hate Nazis. I hate their flag. It's very bland. Although I like the color red and black and white. So yeah, I guess so. But Adolf Hitler decided to imply his tactics that he used as Chancellor in a whole new level. This time, he did not need to get an agreement from the president, because he's now the president. And what he did was start the Holocaust. At first, they weren't holocausts. They would throw rocks and stuff into Jewish stores' windows. Then Hitler started using propaganda to make communists, I hate communists, so I agree with him on one thing, and Jews no, do not kill Jews. Communists are bad, but Jews, they just have a different belief. Same with communists. But oh my god, this is complicated. If only I had a video about communism, link in the end of the video. Now, what happens is we must exit Germany into a place where pizza was invented. You know, good old Italia. Except not at this period. Go back a bunch of more years. Benito Mussolini has now been created technically a German chancellor. What he did was build a fascist movement. He created the term fascismo, which, means fascism, where it's technically nationalism, but not all fascists are nationalists. Of course, it's very complicated. Why else would everybody be calling me a fascist and Putin a fascist and Trump not a fascist and also, yes, a fascist? Yes, fascist is a very complicated term. But Benito Mussolini had created a new thing. And this new thing, fascismo, is very simple. Here's how he did it. In fact, that's actually the symbol. Many people at the time used axes with one big pole, and that was weak, Benito Mussolini said. But if you take many small sticks and wrap it together and then put the blade on, then you get the very strong axe. Benito Mussolini, that's not a very good example. That's actually pretty dumb. But still, a bundle of sticks held together by straw and a tiny axe blade became the symbol of fascismo. Fascists if you're American. Fascismo if you're Italian. And yes, pizza comes from a fascist country. Well, at least at this time period. They would be kicked out at the end of the war. Oh, spoiler alerts! And now, let's go even more back in time. Not to Germany, not to Italia, not to Russia. Definitely not Russia. That place is terrible. It's in the middle of a revolution right now. But let's travel all the way to the country of Japan. Yep, Japan. The place where they invented the bamboo hand fan and also hope that they have giant pandas in it. Pretend that they have giant pandas, but they do not have giant pandas, which is very sad. They barely have any bamboo too. So yes, an Asian country. And Japan at this time was still ruled by a shogun, which is basically military dictatorship. But the emperor is still around. The emperor is not a real emperor. He's just a figure to make people think that, oh, we still have a monarchy. And then the revolutions happen. America comes into the isolated place and is like, you're going to trade with us. And the result of that is the entire economy crashed. So they got rid of the shogun and installed the emperor. Woohoo! Monarchy. As if dictatorships wasn't enough. By the way, Benito Mussolini in the future is going to become dictator for life. Let's see how that goes. The end of his life. That's going to be awesome. But that's a spoiler! And now we go forward in time towards Benito, but not too towards the Second World War. Japan decides that it doesn't have enough space to get natural resources, or in Hitler's terms, Lebensraum. Translated, living space. So, guess what? Japan decides to go invade other countries. First, they kick into Manchuria, and also they blow up their allies' train system, killing their ally. So, awesome. Meanwhile, China is having an ongoing civil war, and Mao Zedong's march comes up to a place called Marco Polo Bridge, where basically Mao Zedong is like, everybody, let's fight the nationalists, as they were shooting at the Japanese. And that was pretty dumb, because, boom, new war. Then now the nationalists and the communists work together to fight the Japanese. And this is going to end really well. For a few hundred more years, it's going to be well. But for now, let's leave it and all the way to the German spectrum. And now, Germany was going to do something unprecedented. Invasion! I'm sorry, but not the actual cool stuff that you're wishing for. We're not there yet, but soon. The first thing that they did was march into Austria. And Austria was Hitler's birthplace. So, of course, Hitler was like, that's the number one country we're going to invade. And you would be like, oh my God, the German people against the Austrian German people. They're going to shoot each other. Well, actually, no. When Hitler rode in his little Jeep and his weird trousers and also his silly mustache and also that tag that everybody always wears when they're in high-ranking positions in the Nazi Empire, the Austrians just waved swastikas and was like, "Go Hitler! Heil!" I'm not gonna do the actual one because I don't want to lose my viewers in Europe. So yeah, Europe, they banned it. And now Germany decides, after it has completed taking Austria, maybe they should go get Czechoslovakia, aka now today, Slovakia and Czech. Awesome! But Britain, the current prime minister, who is not Churchill, decides like, okay, Hitler, we're gonna give what you want. And Hitler was like, okay, what do you need? Okay, we're gonna give you the German-speaking part, but the part that speaks their Czechoslovakian language, how about you do not invade there? And then we can secure peace. That all right? And Hitler was like, yep, signed. Fun fact, Czechoslovakia did not attend the meeting because nobody allowed the actual country to, join the meetings about their country. So, that's not a violation of national rights for countries. Czechoslovakia is not a nation. They're two nations now. And here, he comes back, and everybody celebrates it, and Germany invades the rest of Czechoslovakia. That's fun. And then Germany decides to not only violate the Treaty of Versailles, but invade another country. And then their eyes shifted right to their border. Poland. And Poland, they hated. It was a relatively new country. And it was terrible because it split Germany in half. And they hated that. So you know what they did? They set up the border troops there, and France and UK was like, no! And Hitler said, all right, you're fine. And then signed a treaty with the Soviet Union, now communist! Yay. One communist and two fascists and one monarchist. Awesome. To invade Poland. Germany invades Poland, and Britain and France are like, I declare war on you, and we're not going to do anything because we declared war on you. And then, to the Allies' surprise, America was not in the mix. They already had devastating casualties for the First World War. The Soviet Union pushed in. The Poland troops thought that they were here to save them, and then they ended up being conquered. Poland was split in two, but Germany had its eyes on the Soviet Union now, and the Soviet Union was not looking back. They were immediately going to regret it, but not now. Then, Germany decided to use a tactic nobody had invented before except the Mongols, who are 100% the exception this time. Not anymore, because now Germany uses it. He decides to use the tactic Blitzkrieg to invade France. But how can they invade France? I mean, the border part is literally filled with forts and walls. Heck, it's technically the Great Wall of China, but stronger. And then Germany looks a tiny bit up. Two tiny weakling countries that they can easily push through, which also border France. Let's see how blitzkrieg tactics work. And I can assure you, Germany will rock Europe.